Faces, faces, faces. There's Michaela. There's some faces. Good. We are going to watch a video from The Greatest Showman. Yes. So I first want to introduce myself. I see some faces I know. I see a lot of faces I do not know, which is great to the program. My name is Kenneth Whitaker. I own an elevation and performance company called Authentic. And what the hell does that mean? I ultimately work with groups of teams like you guys. I work with small businesses under 100 employees. I work with singular people who are ultimately wanting to elevate their life in some form or fashion. Way beautiful part that I get to do with you guys is I get to be a little bit more raw. One, you guys are college athletes. Two, I'm also a cheerleader, so I've got background in being able to know what you guys do. Three, I've got a good relationship with them, and they're pretty much game with whatever the hell comes out of my mouth. And you guys are ultimately at a time in your life where you probably need someone to shake you a little bit, or at least knock you on the head to quit doing some stupid shit, yeah? Cool, good. And then we've also got a common goal because you came here for one reason, yes? You could be at a lot of places, and you guys decided to be here. So I'm going to do some stuff today. I've got 3 different stories or areas that I'm going to move from today. Number 1 is going to be The Greatest Showman. Number 2 is I'm going to talk about penguins. And number 3, I'm going to talk about potatoes, eggs, and coffee. Cool? Yes, we good with that? So some people that do know me, will you give a little bit of background of what I have done for you guys over the last year or so, or while you guys have been at Blinn? Anybody? Some of the vets? Yeah, speak up. Yeah? Good. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Miss Michaela, I've known you since you were about 10. What are some other things that I do? Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to talk a little life into you guys. And when I say life is, I'm going to, over the next rest of the year, kind of talk about my experiences, some things you guys will experience, overcome, be able to grow yourself, those types of things. If you know me, and you've been here at Blinn, over the last year since I last saw you guys, I'm currently going through a divorce. When I last spoke here, I would have spoke of my now ex-wife as the queen of my world. She was my why. She was the reason that I get up every morning. She was the reason why I grew the business that I do. She was the reason why I did a lot of what I did. And she left. She did have an affair. She did decide to leave my life and our life. My general manager would have also been here. His name is George. George is married to Mac. Mac is you guys' alumni. Mac and George have a 5-year-old. Her name is Brooklyn. They live with me. I have moved my ex-wife to now taking care of a family that is not even my blood. Pretty similar to a cheerleading team, yes? You guys are somehow going to have to figure out how to put 40, 50, 60 athletes together, all from different backgrounds, all from different experiences, all with different stories, all with different parental relationships and choices and things like that. And you guys are going to have to come together and do one common goal. And it's going to be hard as hell. She left March 12th. That was Hell Week. So I came during Hell Week as she had moved out. That drive up here, I absolutely broke down. But I had made a promise to you guys over the last 4 years that I was going to be able to pull myself together enough because you guys didn't need me to be the broken, hurt husband. You guys needed me to be the elevation and performance coach. So I put that shit aside, and when I walked in this mat, I delivered to you guys what you guys deserve out of me. Are you guys moving in a way where you're able to put that shit aside when you walk in that door and are able to work in a common goal that you have with these group of people, everything else aside, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on in your life, and are you able to actually do what you need to do or what you came to do? I've already heard some stories of how this year's gone. Been a few people, don't know names, don't care to know names, who've decided alcohol is more important than the 60 people sitting in this room. There are some people who have decided that whatever class scenarios is not as important as the 6 people in this room. Just communicating to you guys when the time comes April and you want people to trust in you and you want people to work their asses off for you and you want people to be able to build something with you guys, your choices now are going to be whether or not they decide that it's worth doing that with you. I'm very open with you guys about my divorce. I'm very open with you guys who saw me last year during Hell Week, because now you guys saw me during Hell Week and you now know what I was going through in Hell Week, and because I came in and did what I needed to do for you guys, when the time comes that I ask of you, you guys deliver, because I put my shit aside because y'all are that important. I get up every morning at about 4 a.m. I'm in the cold plunge by 4:10. I'm doing some level of internal work, meditation, journal, breath work by 4:30. I met my first client by 5 a.m. I met my first coaching practice by 6 a.m. I coach till about 9 a.m. I then dive into my work until about 3 p.m. and I do my afternoon schedule until about 9. I get in bed by about 10. I have a beautiful Great Dane that I spend some level of time with. Her name is Cora. She's 7 months old. I spend some time with her in the evening, and I get down some level of reading, and I'm back in bed by 11, and I repeat that, and I have since she left. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I did those things, and I've done those things because of the last 5 years of growing authentic. I put myself into a situation where I said, she's my why, she's my why. I'm going to learn the tools. I'm going to learn the habits. I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow. And when she walked out, guess what still was instilled in me? The shit that made me great. My why walked out, but the shit that built me didn't. And now my business is exploding. I'll be traveling to Cincinnati in December to speak. I'll be traveling to Tampa Bay in April to speak. I'll be traveling to the Dominican Republic in July. Just got finalization that I'm going to be an entry or a contestant on a small business show called the Beta Blocks in February, where I'll be doing, ultimately it's a reality TV show where my business, motivational speaking and elevation performance coach, will be on a TV show, nationally. And all that shit came after she walked out. It is not because she walked out, but it is because what I had done. It is because the relationships that I had built. It is because the way I had ultimately built myself foundationally, that even when that shit rocks me, even when something happens in my life that should have broke me doesn't, I'm able to show up in the way that I need to show up. And you don't think that's going to happen come April when some kids drink themselves off this team? Some kid gets hurt. Some kid decides that going to class isn't as important. Some kid gets pregnant. Someone decides, gets fight. Someone unfortunately passes away. You don't think that's going to happen on this team, and you're still going to have to figure out how important this is to you? And if you think it stops just here, you're stupid. I'm 34 years old. I've been married or with her for 7 years, and if you know that story, I met her when I was at Sam Houston. I went back to school at 27. I was on Sam Houston at 27, and I found that family at SSCF. That's where I met George and Mac and Danny, also your alumni. At 27, I went back and I was working a job in the morning. I was a personal trainer. I went to school. I was on team. I bartended at night. We were living in our own place. I had to be able to pay bills. She didn't work, so I had to be able to pay bills. I had to be able to go to school. My dad had a stroke, so I left school. I had to get another job. Time came that I got a job. I went, you know what? This ain't the shit that I want to do. I want to start my own business. 5 years ago, I started my own business. Authentic was just a personal training company where I went and trained people and gave nutrition programs out. And yeah, it was great and awesome. And I went, no, this isn't enough. So I started going to the books, and I started listening, and I started growing myself, and I started elevating. I started, and she was my driving force. But when she walked out, the dream was so big in me that I wasn't going to turn it off even when she walked out. So this first video is the bearded woman, and I love the bearded woman. I think she's a badass story. And I want you to think we all have our moments as our bearded woman, but I want you to, as you're watching this, go through thinking, little bearded woman, 8, 9, 10, 13 years old, started getting some peach fuzz and went, what the hell, I'm the bearded woman. And then that peach fuzz became a really nice beard, and then all of a sudden she's a teenager. How the hell are you going to get a man when you got a bearded woman? How'd that going to go down? Then she became a 20-year-old. How the hell do you show up in this world as a bearded woman? Then she became an adult, and then she realized she could sing. Oh my gosh, now I can sing. Think all the shit that the bearded woman got. All the shit said, no, not you, not you, not you. But she had a dream. She wanted to have a voice. And think what the bearded woman went through and saying, you know what? I am the bearded woman. She had to accept who she was. She had to own who she was. She then had to figure out her own dream, her own goals, her own aspirations, her own talents, being able to sing. And she started singing. And in this video, you're going to see her sing. And just because she was willing to stand up and do the shit that was hard, she started having people follow her. And when people started following her, she gave them the permission to start showing up in a better way for themselves. And then you get a group of misfits who now feel powerful because they were led by the bearded woman to show up in this world in the most authentic way possible, and now they feel powerful. So, here we go. Thoughts? Another thing about me is I'm going to be pretty open and real with you guys. And I'm going to show you guys I'm authentic, and I'm a big guy and I cry. Today was the first time that I publicly announced to a group of people that I am currently going through a divorce. And that was the first time I had a very different speech connected to this prior to this. And watching that, it was this feeling that I have to now stand in front of you guys and I have to own that this divorce is me. It is a part of who I am. And I can only assume you guys have had your own moments of feeling like your own version of the bearded woman. Being okay with yourself. How do you show up in this world? I'm going to bring the drinking up. The people who were barking at them and yelling at them are the people right now that are asking you to be versions of yourself that is not the true bearded woman. So I'm going to play the drinking scenario out. You get caught drinking. No big deal. You kicked out of school. That's okay. You go somewhere else. Yeah, you're right. You will. You're drinking because you got some shit inside you that you haven't tackled yet. Parental issues, self issues, family issues, childhood issues. I grew up in a pretty abused. So you're drinking right now for whatever reason like this. You want to feel accepted. You want to do all that stuff. Cool. Play that out. Do whatever you need to do. You're grown. You're in this scenario. I brought up penguins. So there's this group of penguins in New Zealand. And right when they are born, they grow until they're old enough and able to swim. And then when they're able to swim, they take off thousands of miles to Antarctica. And they have their first large feed in Antarctica. What's weird is all of their needs are met in New Zealand. The penguin could stay in New Zealand and all of their needs would be met. Food, shelter, parents, family, honey, have some babies. All of that is in New Zealand. But they decide to jump in the ocean, take off, head to Antarctica, go through some shit just to get some food. You guys did that same journey right now. You guys are in your first or second or third year here in college, and you went, you know what? Home, which has all of your needs, food, family, you can find a honey, you can do your thing, maybe get a job. I don't know where you guys are from. I grew up in a little small town, so that job for me would have been McDonald's. But I went, no, I want something else. So I took off. You guys are taking off. You guys are now making your own decisions in your own ocean right now how you want to start showing up in this world. How the hell are you going to show up? You are 3 weeks into school already making some dumb decisions like class and drinking. 3 weeks. That's 21 days. You are less than a month out. Let's play that out. You think 6 months you're going to make any better decisions if you keep heading down that road? Some of y'all going to end up pregnant. Some of y'all going to end up back at home. Some of y'all going to end up retiring yourself out of your sport pretty damn quick. Some of y'all going to get arrested. Y'all keep this up, and you're going to head down there 6 months from now, you ain't going to be in a good place. A year from now, you sure as hell ain't even going to make Daytona. So this penguin decides to jump in the ocean and go, you know what? I'm going to figure out whatever the hell I need to do. And if we're being honest, scientists can't really figure out why do they need to do this. You didn't need to leave home. But the difference between existing in life and living life is going through shit. Making decisions. I'm going through a divorce. I could have found myself on the other end of a bottle, on the other end of a drug bag, in fights in a bar, giving up my dream, not public speaking, not being able to stand up in front of you guys and do what I love, the thing that fills me up. This is what actually fills me up. I could have done all that stuff, and I could have decided to go down that way. Or I could have decided to head down the way I'm going, and all of the things that have played out in the last 6 months have played out in a positive way because I decided to show up differently. You guys just left New Zealand like the penguin. You guys are just out doing your own thing. You're going to set an alarm. You're going to do your laundry. You don't do your laundry, you become a smelly kid. Smelly kid ain't cool. You're going to make your bed. You're going to do your homework. You're going to start deciding how you want to show up in this world from a relationship side of things. How are you going to start talking to people? How are you going to start listening to people? How are you going to start dealing with the shit that you need to deal with? You're going to start doing the shadow work. You're going to start doing the journaling. You're going to get to bed. You're going to not stay up late. You're going to do the practices that you need to do for this to become possible. Because I want you to know there are hundreds of thousands other athletes that are doing the exact same thing you're doing that are 3 weeks into college that get to decide how they want to show up. And if we're just talking cheerleading and dancing, go ahead and pick the team that you want to pick. LSU dance, Navarro cheerleading, Weber cheerleading. I cheered at Navarro. I cheered at Texas Tech. I cheered at Sam Houston. I've been on some of the best teams, and I have watched some of the best athletes make the dumbest decisions and ruin their ability to be able to move forward. And now they get to move forward in their life however they decided in that one decision, go, damn, I shouldn't have done that one. So right now, we're talking college. Right now, you guys 18, 19, 20 years old, cool. This old man with gray in his beard, like, what the hell is he talking about? I did it again at 27. And I started a relationship that I thought, if you ask Amanda, if you ask Sarah, that woman, when she walked in this place, was like, I was Mr. Authentic, she was Mrs. Authentic. Like, I introduced her. I was like, hey, say hi to Amy. That's my queen. I looked at it that way, man. We went places. I traveled the country. She went with me. Man, she was my thing. Woo! I worshiped the ground she walked on. And she walked out. That had nothing to do with my value. That had to do with her decisions. So now she gets to move forward in her life with that decision, and I get to move forward in my life with that decision made in mine. So now you guys are on a team. Unfortunately, you guys are on a team, pretty much a giant marriage, that you get to either start making decisions that benefit the team, or you get to stop making decisions that are hurting the team. And it starts with all of them out there. Because if you make bad decisions out there, when you come in here, you think the body's going to be able to respond because you want it to start showing up and do skills? Hell no. You think school is going to be able to take care of yourself so you can get in here and you pass classes and be able to do what you need to do? Hell no. You think these people are going to really like you after a year from now because you've done what you need to do and you're not really being able to communicate with them, and you're the one that's kind of bitchy on the team, or you're the one that's kind of sassy on the team, or you're the one, we had an issue I was here last year that some of the vets weren't making great decisions and show up to practice late. And then they'd be the first ones to be jumping down some freshmen's mouth like, you need to do. And then those freshmen watch them all walk in 10 minutes late. Why the hell would I listen to you if you can't even make it to practice sometime? So now, coffee, eggs, potato. What the hell is he going to talk about with these three things, right? How am I going to connect those to cheerleading? Cool. 3 pans, 3 pots. 1, 2, 3. Boiling, boiling, boiling. I put a potato in one, I put an egg in another, and I put coffee beans in another. What does the water do to all three of them? Let's talk about the potato. What does the potato do when you put it in boiling water? It becomes soft. What was it like when it went in? Hard. So for all you hard asses who think, man, I can handle this. These people don't know me. These people don't You're not really on board with the team yet. You know, you're kind of your own thing. Cool. What do you think boiling water is? If I was to put it in this existence, what is the boiling water? Life. All of y'all are gonna get put in boiling water. You gonna be the potato? Cool, be that hard ass. Do what you need to do. I'm gonna sit back and I'm literally gonna watch water, life, whoop your ass. And then you've been the hard ass, and then when the time comes that you really need help, yo, y'all, please, will you be there for me? Will you listen to me? Come on, like, please. And they're gonna go, you've been the hard ass for the last 6 months, and now you need help? Remember when I asked for help, and what did you do to me? So now all of a sudden, when life actually hit the potato, when life actually hit the hard ass, and then all of a sudden they're really soft and they need help because you decided to show up like a freaking potato, you think your people are going to be there? You think life is going to start playing out in your way? You think the teacher that you've missed every class, and then all of a sudden, like, maybe it's a 68 or maybe it's a 58 and it needs to be a 60 to pass class, you think they're going to give you the 60? Hell no. Because you decided to be the hard ass. And life is going to rock you. Let's talk about the egg. What's the egg like prior to the water? Hard on the outside. What's going on the inside? Soft as hell. If you'd have seen me these last few years, you'd have walked in and, man, you'd have thought like, I got it together. In actuality, I was really soft inside. I'm gonna be really honest with you. When my wife walked out, there was like 40 days where I was like crying all day. I was getting up early and I was doing my stuff. I was training, I was hitting my meals, I was doing my soft as hell. If you'd have seen me these last few years, you'd have walked in and, man, you'd have thought like, I got it together. In actuality, I was really soft inside. I'm gonna be really honest with you. When my wife walked out, there was like 40 days where I was like crying all day. I was getting up early and I was doing my stuff. I was training, I was hitting my meals, I was doing my cardio. But if you like talk to George, me and George have had some moments. Like that man, I've cried on that man's lap hundreds of times over the last 6 months. I was hard on the outside. I was, man, I had my exterior. Man, I was good. Man, I had my business going. Man, my family was going. I was making money. I was doing my thing. Hell yeah, I had it. And then life hit me. And I had to harden up a little bit. I had to realize that I had to secure myself. I had to start strengthening myself. I had to start being secure enough that no matter what went on around me, it wasn't going to break me. It might change me a little bit inside, but it's not going to break me. So when a teammate passes away, or one day y'all's mom and dads are going to pass away, or a brother or sister is going to pass away, or you're going to lose a job, or you're going to get hurt. Cheerleading happens all the time. ACL's gone. Dance all the time, you roll an ankle, it's gone. What are you gonna do? Are you so hard on the exterior where everyone thinks you got it together, but then when life boils you, are you too soft inside where now all of a sudden you break and you become the broken egg? Or are you okay with become a little hard boiled inside and saying, you know what, even with a broken shell, I still can survive? Because guys, it's coming. It will happen. You are gonna have people on this team, some team down the road, that a mom or dad's gonna die. A best friend's gonna die. It's going to happen. How are you deciding to show up in this world? Can you see other people on this team right now that are eggs that have not hardened inside, and you realize the best way that you can support them on this team is you can start surrounding them, you can start diving into them, you can start pouring into them where they start changing the shit inside, so when the time comes that life rocks them, as a teammate you can look at them and you can go, yo, I got you. And even when something rocks you out there, this blue mat somehow brings y'all together that y'all can start doing the shit together, where like when life gets hard, y'all look at each other and like, we got this. My SSCF family, George, Sam Houston, that family, I told George today I had quiet time and I just felt this overwhelming feeling of just gratitude for that man. And I sat down with him today and I cried with him and I said, man, I want you to know, like, you showed up. Anybody seen the new Jake Gyllenhaal movie? Military movie called The Covenant? No? So the movie, he's a sergeant in the military, and he's over Afghanistan, and this interpreter and him ultimately get attacked. Their team gets attacked, and they're the only two that survive. And they're getting chased down by the Taliban. And they get attacked a second time, and Jake gets shot. And the interpreter is a native Afghani. So he's got no real, bond to him. He's not American, he ain't got blood. Like, he's just an interpreter. He's hired by the military. And that guy puts Jake on this wooden crate, this wooden, like, almost wagon. And he takes him over 100 miles of mountains. Man, it goes, the movie's tough. Man, Taliban's, they're all chasing them. He's going up mountains, down mountains. He's tripping, blood. I mean, it's rough. Jake gets saved. Jake goes back across the United States, gets healthy. The interpreter gets left there. The military doesn't do anything for him. And the Taliban puts $100,000 out for his head. Jake hears about it. Says, I have to go save him. Why do you think Jake feels this need to go save him? Huh? Because he did the 100 miles on the wood wagon. Like, yo, you did that for me. Now I'm gonna go do the thing for you to save you. That's the agreement y'all gotta make with each other. Like, y'all have one thing in common, this. And y'all are gonna go through crazy things, class, alcohol, all those things. And are you willing to make the decision with each other that this is important enough, this team, this family is important enough to do the hard shit, or when hard shit gets tough, you're gonna go, nah, I'm good, I got me. And if you haven't started doing that process, you need to start doing that process. Because this family right here, George and I looked at each other after watching that movie and went, yo, we went into the garage and I cried with him. I said, George, yo, just so you know, like, I want you to know I will always do the wood wagon, and I want you to know I'll also always do the thing where I'll come back and I'll always save you. And because you move the way you move and because I move the way I move, yo, I got you. So now my life insurance, who do you think the beneficiary of my life insurance is now that I've just gotten divorced? George's daughter. George knows that no matter what, his daughter will be taken care of. The beneficiary of my business, if I pass away, guess who gets my business? Mac, his wife. Because I don't need to give George anything. I need to give what's important to George. I need to secure his wife. and I need to secure his daughter. And if I can do those things, George will run through a wall for me. I learned what was important for him, and I secured it, because now George gets to wake up, and George gets to be the best version of George, how he wants to show up in this world, because he knows the thing that is important to him is secure. And that's what I get to give him. That's the agreement. So now my general manager, when he gets up in the morning, you think he's just going to work, or you think he's going to war for me? Because I secured his daughter. His daughter will go to college. His daughter will be secure. His daughter will have a house. His daughter will be able to make sure that she will always be able to eat. She will always be able to have a roof over her head. I will secure to make sure her daughter gets to show up in this world secure no matter what he does, because of the way he showed up over the last 6 months. It's September right now. 6 months from now, guess where y'all will be? Right here, back from Daytona. So in the time that I went through, from my divorce when she left until now, that same amount of time you're going to be back from Daytona. And have you moved in the way you needed to move over the last 6 months to ultimately be where you guys want to be? Let's talk to coffee. What does water do to coffee? Put coffee beans in there, what happens? Do I give a shit about the coffee beans anymore? No. What do I worry about? Water. Because what did the water become? Coffee. So now what I'm really going to tell you need to start doing, and the way I'm going to tell you really need to start being able to equip yourself in this world, is now when life boils you, I want you to become something different. Right now you're coffee beans. Right now you're something. It's great. But when was the last time y'all just chomped on some coffee beans? Never. So you got what it takes. You got the stuff. You got the thing that builds the thing that makes the good quality that everyone, we buy $5 coffees for. We're spending $5 on some liquid. The coffee beans make the thing. Starbucks is a multi-billion-dollar company off of some coffee beans and some liquid. Y'all got the raw power. But what I want y'all to be able to do is, when life boils you, now you understand that you actually have the capacity or power to become something more valuable. Yes, I'm going through a divorce. Yes, that shit rocked me. Yes, I had to overcome some stuff. Yes, I'm no longer the man that stood in front of you guys. But because I was willing to sit in the water, and I was willing to boil over the last 6 months, no matter how hot it got, no matter how hard it was, no matter how bad I wanted to get out of the water, I sat there and I understood that if I can sit in it, I can become something more valuable. Because now I get to stand up in front of you guys. And when I spoke 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 4 years to you guys, I was speaking from a high place where I had it. I felt like I was on top of the world. And then I hit rock bottom, and I still survived rock bottom. And now I'm standing here as a survivor in front of y'all going, see, even then, you are still powerful. Don't be the potato. If you're the egg, it's okay. Heal that shit that's soft inside. Deal with that shit that's soft inside. If you ain't willing to look at the mirror yet, get a point where you can look at the mirror and you can say, I love you. I believe in you. Be able to look at yourself in the eyes. One of my daily practices, I have to get up every morning and I look myself eye in the eye for 3 minutes. If you haven't done it, it's fucking hard. I was able to look myself in the mirror now. I was able to deal with this shit that was soft inside. I was able to heal that shit. And now I realize now I'm actually the coffee. Yes, the coffee has value. But when you get boiled, understand your value has actually become something different, something more, something elevated. That's where people want to share in. That's where you get to start empowering other people, like the bearded woman did, where she started standing, and all of a sudden those people raise their chest up, and they get to start showing up in a better way because the courage, the strength that you showed. And so now, when my community saw me with Amy, they knew that world. That was 5-7 years. They knew that world. Those friends knew that world. And then when they saw her walk out and they saw me hit rock bottom, and then they saw me come back up and they stand up, and I stand here and I say, this is now me. Now they've watched me hit the top, hit the bottom, and come back up. Now they believe. Now when I stand in front of you guys, I'm not speaking from knowledge, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not saying your divorce is the thing that you're going to go over, but it could be an injury. It could be losing a teammate. It could be losing a family member. It could be making a dumb decision with alcohol, not going to class, and being able to overcome those things. You are going to have times in your life where you get rocked, you get boiled, and how you decide that you want to move in those decisions are how your life is going to play out. I value the shit out of you guys. This is the moment where I get to kind of sit down and go, I'm going to shut the hell up, and now you guys get to give me a little feedback or questions, one of those types of things. I know you guys are supposed to be done at 5, and I've been rambling now for a minute. So, thoughts, questions, concerns? Yes. I would cry. Yeah. I've actually gotten to a point where I welcome all those hugs. And the shit that I needed to deal with inside as the egg is I used to hug you needing the hug and not let you feel that I needed the hug. And now when I hug people, I'm fully okay with you feeling that I need that hug. And I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do is when we're actually weak in this world, when we need that hug to show other people that we're weak in the hug. Yeah, I'll take one. When we get wrapped up, I'll take one for sure. Yeah, Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, we don't. No, it's okay. Unfortunately, we don't. Yeah. So she's chosen a life that I ultimately can't support. When she had the affair, she actually chose to have a life with that person. And that person is in a lifestyle that I don't support. So it was the first time kind of in the egg stuff that I needed to start stating my boundaries. And I said, ultimately, my boundary was X, Y, and Z. And if you couldn't support the boundary, then I had to be strong enough to realize that my boundary was going to have you walk out of my life. And I was going to be okay with you walking out of my life. And that was probably one of the hardest, but one of the greatest times that I was able to find strength in myself, because now I'm confident in being able to stand here by myself. I used to tell stories of we would drive up here together, and now I had to make that drive today solo. And that was hard, but I did it, and I'm going to do it. Trips that I would have made with her solo. And that's where I get to find my power. That gives me the ability to look in the mirror and go, wow, Kenneth, you are powerful. Now I get to move my why from her to really being able to look at you guys, and as a grown man, 33 years old, going, shit, like, this dude's gone through it and is still able to stand here and give some words that it can make me at least think a little different. Then when I walk out of this gym, I'm going to start moving in a little bit different way, and I'm going to stand here and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, you should communicate your boundaries in your life if that's what you feel are so important, and you need to be willing to take whatever consequences come with your boundaries, because your boundaries are that important. And females, I'm heavily talking to y'all. Be okay with saying your boundaries and honor yourself in your boundaries. Honor yourself and being able to say that I am more important than whatever needs you have, and I'm willing for you to walk out of my life and lose that for your boundary. Yes, ma'am. Where's George? George is actually having a wife and daughter night tonight. So he has been working really hard, and Brooklyn just started school this year. And so I actually it's kind of nice. I'm able to, in those moments, hand them the business card and say, y'all go have an evening, a family night, and that's a gift that I give to them. And so tonight was one of those nights that I said, go do a family night. So, yeah. Yes. Do they still live with me? Yeah, it's our little community now. So I actually moved out of the master bedroom, so I take 2 of our bedrooms, and I've got a podcast room. So I've launched a podcast called Human Capacity, and I interview people now and tell stories of people that ultimately either inspire people to start doing some really cool shit, or it weakens your excuses why you haven't done cool shit yet. So I tell really cool stories with Human Capacity, and then I have my own room, and it was kind of the first time in my adult life that like I picked what sheets I wanted and how I wanted to decorate and what candles I wanted to do and where I wanted to put my TV and how I wanted to set my bed up and how I wanted to do it. And unfortunately, I hadn't done that yet in my life. And if I'm being real honest, like I had to stand at the grocery store and George was like, what color you want? And I didn't know. Like, Amy made a lot of those decisions. She made how we decorated, and she made all of those decisions. And when that happened, I had to, for the first time in my life, like, what does Kenneth want? And that was hard. But man, it feels powerful now. You know, I've got 3 different colors of sheets because I wasn't able to decide, so I change them when I want them. And now I moved from like the 13-year-old boy has like the paper posters, and I bought like big banners and stuff now. So I've got like Kobe banners and Rocky banners, and I've got quote words a quote wall, and I've got really cool, like it's my inspiration room. And so when I walk in my bedroom now, it's my place to recharge. It's my place to, I've got a big giant lion on the back of my bed, and I talk really a lot now about being able to have my Simba moment of going back to Pride Rock and owning my own Pride Rock. Like I'm Simba now, kind of going back and owning myself. So that's really cool. And then Brooklyn's got a new room, and George and Mac now have the master bedroom, and it's really cool there's dual, sinks, and they've got a really nice master bath, and it was really cool to give them that present, because that was like they get to elevate their life now and being able to come closer and things like that. So that was really cool. We got a really cool little community. It's really cool. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And what? Yeah, let's do tattoos first. So this was our wedding song, Holy, from Florida Georgia Line, High on Loving You. These are all of our animals' paw prints and their names that we had. This is Baby Girl. That was my nickname for her. That was my wedding band. Am I going to get them removed? No.
Would you recover them?
No.
Is it like a version of who you were now? Look at it.
I think I have to be able to look at it and realize it's almost a scar. It is who I am. And if I'm being honest with you, those 7 years were probably some of the greatest 7 years of my life. If I knew it was going to play out the way it played out, I would do it 1,000 times over. We had the entire cheerleading team at our wedding, and it was the most beautiful wedding I've witnessed. The home we built, who she had become. When I met her, she was a not very confident, really insecure woman, and now the woman, yes, she didn't choose me, but the woman that now walks in this world is powerful, and she is gorgeous, and she's gonna do great things in her life. It's just not going to include me right now. So yeah, my tattoos are, they're scars that I have to own and I have to love. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. He's a huge public speaker, probably the biggest public speaker. He had mom issues. His mom was really abusive to him. And he says, if my mom was the mom that I needed, I wouldn't have become the man I am today. And if all of the relationships and all the stuff that I had gone through had not gone through, then I would not become the man I'm standing here standing in front of you guys speaking. I've now gotten to a point where I want to be able to speak via experience and not just via education that I take in. I can listen to all the speaking and I can learn how and I can learn about presentation. I can do all that stuff. But if you can't watch me, like you guys watch me cry, you guys watch me those things. Now all of a sudden you realize like that shit's deep inside of me. That's who I am. This dude's like standing here going, oh, like all of a sudden immediately just like this, I've got bandwidth with you. You and I now get to connect because like you watch me be vulnerable with you guys. And now if I can do that as a public speaker, the minute I walk in and I have to be able to make an impact on you guys' life in 70 minutes, now all of a sudden it happens like that because I'm not just speaking words out of my mouth, I'm speaking experience from my life. Yes, ma'am. Are you done? Yep. Yep. Will you repeat that? Yeah. I take the power away, but because if I'm vulnerable right off the bat with you and you ain't about it and you walk out, did I lose any skin in the game? But if I'm vulnerable with you and you show me that I can trust you because I'm vulnerable with you, now I get to dive in hard. And now I give you the permission to do the same for me. So because there's no risk in it, I do it all immediately. But if you do 6 months where they kind of like you and now they've known a version of you that, and now you want to start being vulnerable and they like a different version of you that's not the vulnerable side, now there's risk. If I was worried about you guys as doing something negative with the information, I shouldn't have given it to you guys. And I'm saying, if they do something negative, they taught you real quick lesson. And if they can do something powerful with that, then I would be cautious in sharing it. But if I take the power and go, I'm fully okay with whatever the hell y'all end up doing with this information, now I own the power. Does that make sense? Cafeteria closes at 6. Y'all need to get out of here and eat. Feel free to get out of here and eat. I will be here as long as you guys want me to be here. There's people in this gym. I'll stay. If man is leaving, I'm leaving. Yes.